Hello, Kylie Bertucci here, Stampin Up demonstrator in Australia. And I have a fantastic topic for you all today. Hopefully we get a few come along live, but even if you don't come along live, you'll be able to watch this replay either on YouTube or replay it back on Facebook. But I have a really great topic for you today. It's something that I thought is really good, particularly as women. We can come up with lots of excuses not to succeed, me included. So this talk is very good for me. I'm actually looking around the room to see where I printed up my little notes. But anyway, I'm sure they'll turn up somewhere. Chaos as usual. Yes, I can see them. I call it organised chaos. So some of the excuses that I have heard as a Stampin' Up demonstrator, or even used myself, yes, I am definitely in the same category. I'll just get my little diary. Hopefully Louise Sharp finds, if someone wants to tag Louise Sharp or say share, actually I wonder if I could invite her because I just noticed that she was on the wrong page. Hi, Kayla. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, that's fantastic, Susan. I'm so glad you can come live. It's much nicer live. Then you can ask questions and take part. Jessie, you'll probably be able to tag Louise, I'd say, hopefully if you're on a PC. So, some of the notes that I have written down in the beautiful diary that Louise gave me, I decided last night what are some of the excuses that I have used myself or heard over the years. And it's very interesting how you don't even realise, hello again, Michelle, you don't even realise that these are some of the things that we say to ourselves. So some of the things, like say with recruiting or customers or something like that, I don't have time, I have another job, my children are frustrating me, hello Pam, and they're distracting me from my work. The market is dried up in Australia or anywhere in your market if you're somewhere else around the world. A demonstrator stole my customer or a recruit. I'm not computer savvy. I don't have a blog. I'm not good at selling. And I don't like traveling. So these could be things, and the traveling one could be in regards to traveling to a workshop or something like that. Now, some of these could be legitimate things. They could actually be real life situations, but even by expressing that you find that a reason to not succeed is actually stopping you from succeeding. So I'll just pull out some of the notes that I have here, because the interesting thing that when I did a little bit of research on it, hey Nicole, good to see you. When I did a little bit of research on this, it made me realise that people who are leaders will very rarely make excuses. And of course, we're all going to do it. From time to time, we're going to try and, stroke our ego, I guess you could say, or take something personally. Like, that's just being a human. But it's really important that we recognise if we are making excuses and if those excuses are actually preventing us from moving forward. Because by having an excuse, it actually gives us permission to not succeed. It's like actually saying, it's okay that I'm not succeeding because this is why I'm not. I have a very good reason that I'm not succeeding, and it has nothing to do with me. It's blaming someone else. Hang on, I'm just going to connect you up because I just got this is what happens on video day. You always make excuses, do you, Kayla? Oh, that's hilarious. Well, you've made a good step by acknowledging it, because that's not easy to say, yep, I'm full of excuses. Because, you know, if we actually analyse it, a lot of us do make excuses a lot of times. Like, I actually relate this really well to weight loss, because I've struggled with weight gain since I've been married. And it's amazing how things relate to one another. And I find that when it comes to weight loss, and of course there's emotional things involved in it, there's guilt involved in it. Like, there's a lot of layers to why we make excuses. There's insecurities, there's fear, there's so many different things that we do it for. And ultimately, if we just really want something, we will do that. Absolutely, having little ones does not help at all. And it definitely is a good reason to struggle. But I guess we don't want it to stop us. We don't want it to be the reason why we don't see success, because there's people who have had success that have little ones. They find a way around it, and they find a way to try and balance family life and to make Stampin' Up or make their business work for them without sacrificing time with your family, because your family comes first. That's just number one. There's no point doing anything that we do in business if we don't put family first, because then we're out of balance. But there's certain days that we have to make decisions, and we have a choice to do certain things, and we could choose to say, well, the children need me, or this situation needs me, when in actual fact it's just because we don't want to do the work. We're like, you know what? I think I'll just chill on the couch and play with the kids. When, you know, they could be perfectly fine, you know, doing a colouring activity or working on something that you provide for them, or just being a little bit more organised with an activity that tires them out maybe. So, you know, go to the park, smash them out, and then they chill out for the rest of the afternoon. But, you know, it could be just scheduling your day a little bit better, you know, get them out of the house early, have fun, and then go, okay, now it's time for mum to have her time. It's time for mum to do some work, and, or maybe even involve them, you know, mum needs to do some work. I want to send out some custom cards. Do you want to help mum? And yes, it'll take longer to get done, but at least you're doing what you need to get done, and you're not using them as an excuse. You're actually involving them. I've seen a lot more demonstrators actually doing these live videos and involving the children. Yeah, I know, it's a bit like that. Ruby's a bit of a different age. Ruby is like psycho age. Ruby's like terrible twos. Yeah, it's a bit different at that age because they won't sit, they won't do anything. But it's a big challenge. And I guess, you know, you could look at, say, without giving away too much in Nicole's situation, but we do make decisions as to how much we will take on as well. So if we become too much of a yes person, which Nicole is a very good yes person, but if we take on too much, then something becomes our responsibility that actually isn't. And that can be challenging too, because that's where we've got to learn to step back, or learn to, you know, find our role and how it fits, so that we can still get done what we need to get done. And it's really tough. And you've got to constantly have this battle of guilt and, you know, I'm not doing enough, or I should be doing more, or, you know, that's something that we're going to live with, and it's really challenging. But there are probably ways around it. And as your business changes and it grows, there will be options that come up before you. And it may mean investing in getting an hour of care for your child, as opposed to doing an hour of work like with peace. You know, there's ways that you need to find, rather than seeing it as something stopping you, find a way to, you know, have a way out, basically. Yeah, successful people don't see it as a block. They try and see how can I make the best of my situation without it completely stunting me. So one of the things that I researched and I thought was really interesting is that firstly, people who want to be leaders and successful people are usually the ones that don't make excuses. They're always trying to find a way out, a way around situations that can actually stunt most other people. And when you look at business, most people who start a business only last 3 months, because it's just too difficult to Louise is messaging me, where are you? Did someone tag Louise Sharp? She's so crazy, man, that girl. Nicole, you'll be able to do it for me, won't you? Tag her over here. Nicole, Louise, get your butt over here. She never finds me. She's hilarious. We run by the seat of our pants. I understand her completely. But one thing that I really enjoyed is it said that if you're someone who defaults to making excuses, it's time to shift your mindset. So no successful leader or entrepreneur makes excuse for their inaction or action. Thank you, Paula. Oh, there we go, Kayla. Good. They don't make an excuse for their inaction or action gone wrong. They make things happen regardless to the situation or circumstance. Hello, Leisha. Welcome. You got here. So here's a few reasons why successful leaders don't make excuses. And these are really important. So we're doing it in the other spin. This is why they don't. Firstly, they have defined their priorities. So most of us can use excuses to avoid blame or self-defeat. And usually it's because we haven't done something that we should have. So it's really interesting in this situation, because if we've promised something or we've failed in an area, we now make an excuse. And it's really quite interesting, because by making the excuse, we're not owning. Yeah, I'm on a big telly now. I should go up really close so you can see up my nose or something, Louise. Pick my nose for you. But yeah, it's actually a really interesting concept, because if we start making excuses for something that we have genuinely done wrong or not done correctly, then we're actually lying to ourselves as well. It's like just an excuse is like a little neat way to, make a lie and say, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. I know I was meant to do it, but I didn't. And we do it. We do it to preserve ourselves, to protect ourselves. It might be to preserve our, image, or that we feel embarrassed, and that's natural. But you know what? Real leaders just own it, and they just go, yep, totally. But the key area is that ultimately, if you want to do something and you say you're going to do it, you will make it happen. If it's a priority to you, you will make it happen. If something isn't a priority, then things will just come in. Things will take you away, and you'll be like, what's her name? Dory. I'll go over here. And I am a bit like that. I am definitely like that. But because I've created things where I have made myself need to stick to a certain thing. So I'll say to myself, I'm doing a weekly video for training, and it's going to be here every week at this time. And that is so good for me, because I'm accountable to other people. If I left it just accountable to me, I probably wouldn't do it. But I realize that there's people waiting for me. Hello, Lisa. Good to see you. I realize that there's people counting on me. And it's brilliant. And then I've got like Nicole, who messages me if I'm a bit late. Nicole's like, Kylie, where are you? So it's really nice. I love hearing that, because those sort of things keep my priorities right. And then I don't make excuses. I don't say, well, I think I'll do a Facebook Live maybe this week. No, I've said it every week. And I've said to my viewers, it will be every week. And so I have to stick to it now. I need to make that a priority on my Tuesdays, which is great. So I think the key area is making things, you need to count, like, it's actually really interesting that you say this, Paula. Hi, Darla, good to see you. And the reason why I started AIM for Alaska was actually for my team. So I started AIM for Alaska because there was some in my team that were really saying they wanted to earn that trip. So I did that. And then I thought, what is going to make me accountable? And what is going to help make sure that I stick to that team training, and I make it the best team training I possibly can for my team. And the only way that I could see that I would do that is by making it paid training for others outside of my team. Because if I knew that people were paying for that training, I had to step up. I have now created accountability. I have now created a reason to ensure that that group is at a very high standard, and that I'm getting the right people in that group to do talks. Like tomorrow we've got Patty Bennett that's giving us a talk, and she's just unbelievable to watch. She's just such a brilliant trainer. And it also is really good because, you know, our time is valuable and so is demonstrators' time. And by having the paid training, it means that I can do something special for ones like Patty and Michelle Last and Wendy that have been in the group, and give them, you know, something for their time, basically. So, you know, it helps them in turn to then give their best. So we're getting the best out of each other because there's that accountability and appreciation as well. And it worked really, really well. Like now that group is taking on a mind of its own. I've had 2 just join in the last hour. So as soon as I finish this call, I'm going to make sure that they're all set up and they're in the group and they're happening. And, you know, it's really exciting. And it's taken on this new thing that I had no idea would take off. And the only reason why it started was to create accountability for myself so that my team could get my best and could receive the best training. So that's been really exciting. So, you know, maybe it could be, you know, if you have a struggle with accountability with creating. So for me, I wanted to make sure that I blogged and I was accountable for my blogging. So I created a design team. Well, then I'm accountable, aren't I? I created something, or I create a blog hop, but I'm the one that's actually organizing the blog hop. So therefore I'm accountable because people are relying on me. And I know that's how I work the best. At times, yes, it can be stressful, but it pushes me outside my comfort zone. And I've learned a lot because of it, but it is the best way to make me step up. And I know that that's, you know, that's the way that works for me. So, yeah, it was really interesting. It gave this, the notes that I've written, I had an example about exercise that, you know, we all have a goal to be more fit or to exercise and, you know, to do something. We know that movement is good for us. It makes us feel better. We feel good about ourselves. But because there's no short-term need associated, so say we know we need to go to the gym, we have an ultimate goal of what we want, but the smaller goals, it's hard to see the progress. Like we're only going to see it if we're consistent over, say, 6 months to a year. And I thought it was a really good analogy because it's the same with Stampin' Up. What we do today, we probably won't see the effects of for maybe 6 months, sometimes even longer when we're first starting out. So it was really difficult for me at the beginning with Stampin' Up, getting into some sort of routine because I didn't even know what I was doing was going to do anything. I'm like, am I completely wasting my time? And everyone around me, including Bruno, he's like, you are wasting your time. Like, this is ridiculous. It's costing you more money than you're earning. And so it took a lot of guts to just keep going. It's like, no, I know this can be something, but I have to be determined to keep going and know what my goals are and to set those big goals, but be willing to do the small bits in between, even when I'm not seeing results. And that can be the challenge, keeping priorities despite seeing, not seeing things ahead of you. And it's really interesting because say if your goal was to run a marathon or, hey, Ellen, good to see you. You're missing me all over the place. You're a busy woman today. But I really love this example. So your goal might be with Stampin' Up. I would absolutely love to be in the artisan design team. Or I would absolutely love to be in the Global 100. That would be like the most amazing goal for me. And say you're saying that and you don't have one customer, or say with artisan, you haven't blogged for a year. And you create maybe a card once a month, but you don't blog it. So do you think that that would be a reasonable goal to have before you've set up the little small ones? So maybe the first goal may not be, I want to be Global 100. That could be a long distance goal, but still, it's nicer to have something that's closer to home. Get your priorities right and say, I'd really love to blog more. That would be a good start if you want to be on Artisan. I'd really love to create and blog more. Or if you'd love to be in the Global 100, well, instead of, shooting for the stars, make it something a bit more achievable and say, I'd really like to get some customers, or I'd really love to build a team. Start something a little bit more reasonable that isn't completely out of reach. And then those stepping stones will get you to that ultimate goal. But if you set those goals way too high, they're unattainable and you'll tire out. You know, you'll find an excuse very quickly. Yep, small accomplishments along the way. But it's even just trying to find ways to not find an excuse. Like getting into such a good routine with the goal that you've set or the priority that you've set that things aren't going to distract you. So if I said to myself from an exercise point of view, I want to lose ultimately at least 10 kilos. So I can look at that goal and go, are you kidding me? I've got to lose 10 kilos. So I go to the gym. I'm like, oh, did I lose any weight? Nah, didn't lose any weight. Like if that's my goal, it's too big. Whereas my goal at the moment is literally just get to the gym 3 days a week. Doesn't matter what you do, you need to move 3 times a week. So make it a little bit more attainable. And then as that becomes something that you've created a priority, you're sticking to it, you're becoming and getting into a really good routine, then you can maybe branch out and say, I really want to get stronger. I want to have a better core, or I want to focus on my abs. And if you look at it from a Stampin' Up point of view, you could say, all right, the first thing might be I would like a recruit. And then you do the next step and you say, well, I'd really like a team. I'd like more than one recruit. Then you're like, all right, now I would like my recruits to be trained and I want to try and help them set this up as a business. So then you're looking at training. And then slowly, things are just adding, layers are adding, and you're learning as you go along as well. But you've got that priority. You know what the goal is, and you're doing the little steps along the way, and that will really help. So the interesting thing too, the second one is that leaders are not short-sighted. And I really liked this idea, that not being short-sighted, because ultimately, and it sort of fits in with what I was saying before, you want that end goal. You have that goal in mind, but you've got to be really determined to do the priorities in between. So you know what you need to do to get to that point. So it says in the notes that I put here, I said, without leadership mindset, you're thinking solely about the present, what you want or don't want to do right now at this very present, at this moment. And that's where the excuse sneaks in. That's why you've hit the snooze button, or you've watched your favorite show instead of hitting the gym. And it's the same with Stamping Up. You may say to yourself, it could be like this really sort of wishy-washy idea that you'd like to blog this week, but you don't have a determined goal. You don't know what you're going to blog. You don't know what product you're going to use. You haven't set a time frame, and your favorite show's on. Oh, no. Yeah, I'll do it later. Yeah, I'll get to that blog later. If you don't have any parameters, this week will fly and you will not have blogged once. So if you know that you need to, or you have a goal, well, find a way to maybe do a challenge, like the Global Design Challenge that we do. Brilliant. We've got it set out for you. We've got a color challenge that will push you out of your comfort zone. You need to have it posted before a certain time to be in the challenge. And I loved challenge blogs for that reason, because it pushed me to get it done. And if I didn't have something pushing me, it wouldn't get done. It didn't happen, because there's always something else that we want to do, or that we want to take part in, but we feel so accomplished when we've actually set a goal and we use these things to help us with our ultimate goal. And our ultimate goal would be, I want to build up more blog readers. The only way we're going to build up more blog readers is if they've got something to read. If there's nothing on there to read, they're not going to come. You won't have any traffic. So yes, so I think it's really important to try and pull yourself out of the now. Excellent, Ellen. I like your use of time. She's blogging while she's listening to me. So yeah, you've got to really look at the present really is irrelevant, basically. You've got to look at that end goal. And even though you have certain desires now, leaders are very, very good at making sure that they don't allow gratification to take over. So a leader will make sure that they know they are going to have to make sacrifices to get where they want to go. You look at anyone who's in training for a marathon or who goes to the gym, there's sacrifices to get that hot body. And it may be that you want to eat that donut, but you can't think about, all this week's projects are accounted for, Nicole. Excellent. And that's the best thing you can do. Literally schedule them. I have a diary and I go, this is happening. And it's great. It pushes me to get blogging every day, and it's the best way to make sure that you do it. But yeah, you just have to be really careful of instant gratification. And we live in a world of instant gratification. We have, all these advertisements that are telling, you are the most important thing. You come first. The only person that matters is you. And so, we listen to our flesh craving something. It could be just to chill out on the couch. It's like been a big day and the kids have driven you nuts. They're finally in bed and you do have time to actually do something because they're away. And you know what? You just don't feel like it. I don't feel like blogging. Get lost. I'm going to get a glass of wine and chill out. But that's where the decision comes in. It's like, am I going to make the use of that time, or am I going to create an excuse and not do it? But it says the way that you do things that you say you want to, you just do them. So just don't talk about it, just do them. You stay disciplined because you want the result of the work. Excuses are a product, and I loved this point. Excuses are just a product of lack of discipline, and discipline is just remembering what it is you really want. So do you keep yourself disciplined? Do you know what you really want? If you don't know what you want and why you want it, you're not going to be disciplined. And if you're not disciplined, the excuses will arise. There's a reason why I haven't been a success. There's a reason why I'm not losing weight. I love donuts too much. Now, this is a really good point. Leaders are not afraid to fail. And this is a really challenging area of excuses, failing. So you have to get comfortable. If you want to succeed, you have to get comfortable with failing. Because leaders are the ones that are going to push themselves out of their comfort zone and they're going to try new things. And trust me, I have had that many failures. I think I've had more failures than successes. But if it wasn't for those failures, how do you learn? How do you grow? You need failures. You learn more from failures than you do success. So failures are actually a really, really important process in our business. Glenda says she schedules Monday morning after exercise is my blogging time, and she does a whole week's worth at once. Wow. Go Glenda. Angel, thank you for giving such great advice. I have started doing something for my business daily. Excellent. That's really good, Angel. Yeah. And like I'm 3 days a week, so I have to try and schedule everything Monday to Wednesday. Well, actually it's Monday, Tuesday is probably the only time that I have for blogging, and Wednesday is sort of getting team things organized. So, but you have to find what works for you in your schedule. Everyone's going to be different, but it's having those priorities. But I really like the idea that excuses are a way to avoid failures. So I'm going to repeat that. Excuses are a way to avoid failures. We are all afraid to fail. It's embarrassing. It can be soul destroying, and it could be the catalyst that throws us off completely and just makes us give up. But the people who can accept failure and embrace failure are the ones that will succeed, because it will happen. It's not going to be a smooth sailing, and it's never been that for any top demonstrator. You ask any top demonstrator in the world and they have had struggles. There's things that they've had to contend with or deal with, or, you know, emotional things have come up with family, or there's been cancer, and yet they've been able to go, you know what? This is not going to be something that I use as an excuse. It's going to propel me forward. I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to keep going. So, you know, failures, yeah, they basically are like mistakes, really, at the end of the day. And we're all going to make a mistake. That's just, you know, what it is. And I know recently in a tutorial bundle, sadly, one of the designers got left out. And I had a decision to make. I'm like, oh my goodness, I've left one of them out of the bundle and I've compiled the PDF and they're not in there. And I was freaking out. And I thought to myself, you know what? The best thing to do is just own it. I am so sorry. This has happened. You know, I'm here's the fixed one. This is how I fixed it. Please forgive me. And you know what? People respect that so much more than you making an excuse. You know, there's nothing worse than being caught out in a lie. Nothing worse. So you've just got to own it. Angel said, how do you help your family understand that failure is coming, but it shouldn't keep us from moving forward? It's a really good question, Angel. Is there something specific that you think you can think of? Because I know when I first started out with Bruno, I think one thing that I had to learn was I had to stop talking to him about the negative side of Stampin' Up. And I know that sounds terrible. May said she has to stop being sidetracked. Oh, yes, absolutely. Love that. That's a really good point. And that's all about prioritizing. Because if you have a priority, you don't have time to be on Facebook and Pinterest because there's people relying on you somewhere else. And it's like, oh my goodness, I have to be on that challenge blog. So, you know, if you really want to set yourself a blogging challenge, I'm happy to, you know, give you a global design project challenge. Come and play along with us and that will keep you going. But yeah, I think that's a really good point that was brought up before. Hang on, where are we? Yeah, Angel brought it up. Yeah, I think with failure, and something that we tend to do is we tend to share our frustrations with our family. And it's a natural thing to do. Like if a person has hurt us, or if something hasn't gone well, like I went to my first workshop, I came back devastated and told Bruno. And so for the first year or two, I think all Bruno was hearing was just negative things about Stampin' Up. And he's like, why are you even doing this? And he used to say to me, and I'd hate it when he'd say it, because he'd go, well, just quit. Just stop. Just stop Stampin' Up. And I'd be like, but I don't want to quit. I just want encouragement for you to say, keep going. But you're not going to get that from your loved ones because they actually don't understand what your ultimate goal is. And I think that taught me a lot too, is I wasn't communicating the positive aspects of my business and where I wanted to go with it and what I wanted it to do. So I have been a lot more open with Bruno in regards to that. I've been saying, you know, this is my goal this year. This is why I'm doing this. I'd really love Bruno to do more in my business. So that's a goal that I have this year. And I've made sure that I've expressed it to him because I might assume that he knows that. But he doesn't know that. He doesn't know why I'm doing, you know, an extra thing here or that there. And it's because I want him to be able to come and work with me. So, and, you know, he might not want to work with me. And I've got this idea in my head and it could be completely wrong. So, yeah, just making sure that you don't talk too much about the negative aspects that come up. And there'll be negative aspects. But really think about, and even we need to ponder on the things that make us happy about being in Stampin' Up and what things make us happy about growing as a person, growing in business, pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone, you know, learning self-respect and confidence as a woman. And they're really important skills that we're learning. So yeah, share all the good stuff. And I think if failure does come, try and find someone that you can speak to that's a demonstrator as well. Tricia says, in our family, we say that we just want to vent about something, but we're not looking for them to fix the problem. Sometimes just talking about it makes a difference. It's very true. I think it's difficult because we're doing our taxes right now. We're seeing a lot of negative numbers this year. Oh, yes, but you just became a demonstrator in July. Yeah, it's early days. You know, the best way to sort of look at a business, I look at my father, he runs restaurants. You know, they're putting probably $200,000 investment into the business, and they won't see anything back for probably 3 to 5 years. What have we put into Stampin' Up? The starter kit, and it's like so cheap, and you know, everything else we can sort of find a way to get for free or use our time to learn things. You know, there's certain things that do cost, but it's nothing like a regular business, starting a regular business. So we've got it very good. I like May's suggestion. Hanging around or sharing with positive people makes you feel positive. Same with the negative side of this. Yeah, absolutely, May. But there are times where you want to share your frustration. And I have another demonstrator friend, Louise, who might be still here, but we do share our frustration with each other so that we don't have to share it with our husbands. Because it's not good for them to hear us speaking negative all the time. We can see how it affects them, and they want to protect us. And so they're like, you know, ready to fight for us. Like, come on, leave. Come on, get out of there. We want to protect you. And it's like, no, that's not what we want. That's not the answer. We're just venting. So, yeah, it's very important that you find the right person even to speak to about it, and also to have those coping mechanisms there so that you don't get down in the dumps when failure comes along. I'm a lot better at accepting failure, and sometimes when failure comes up, I still don't accept it as failure. I'm like, no, I'm going to turn this into a positive, and it won't be a failure, it'll be a good thing. Yes, see, she doesn't vent to Dan anymore. Yeah, we've had to learn the hard way over the years, because we could see, you know, it becomes frustrating at times, different personalities as well, and you're not always going to get along with everyone. So yeah, it becomes really challenging to make sure that you keep your conversation with the family positive, and yeah, talk to the right people about, you know, have a vent, and then, but make sure you move on. Like Louise and I, we won't let ourselves stay in that negativity. We're like, okay, cool, yeah, that was crazy, all right, let's move on. Or Louise, when I had a really tough time, that's when Louise came up with the Global Design Project, or blog hopping. She came up with the amazing incentive trip blog hop. So from a lot of our really, really dark down times have come the most amazing ideas, because we wanted to find a way to become positive again. Glenda says she has a fellow demo. We vent and encourage each other. Nice to have someone to bring you back to reality. Absolutely, Glenda. And it's just nice to have a hearing ear and someone to go, oh my goodness, I totally get that. Totally understand everything you're saying, but aren't going to let you stay there. You know, aren't going to kick you to the ground and go, yeah, stay negative. We've also got to be good enough to help each other out as well. The other one is that lead